Hi there, it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to walk you through my skincare journey, and I want to talk to you about my first initial skincare routine back in middle school and how I've kind of tried a lot of different products since then and have evolved into my current skincare routine. And even so, that skincare routine keeps changing as well, but I just kind of wanted to walk you through my journey. So let's get started. So initially, as a teenager going through puberty in my early teens, I was very kind of lost in the skincare world. Unfortunately, I would just kind of peruse the aisles of the drugstore looking really not for basics, but just looking for an acne treatment really. And so that meant I was using Clearasil, like foaming cleanser that had acne medicine in it. And then I was also using like a pimple cream, right? Benzoyl peroxide, like maximum strength. And before that, before puberty, I wasn't really washing my face in the mornings, or I didn't really have a routine. I just kind of washed my face when I took a shower, took a bath, and that was it. So it was going from like nothing, no routine, to using these crazy strong cleansers and treatments that my skin was just not ready for. And so of course, as my skin was getting oilier and breaking out, and then I put all this stuff on top of it that really wasn't right for it, my skin really reacted negatively. I had allergic reactions to the treatments. I got real itchy, real red, and then I tried to cover it up with makeup at school. It was a nightmare. And then instead of stopping using it, I tried it again. I thought, well, maybe if I use less tonight, it won't blow up my face. Of course, it happened again, and my family thought I was kind of dumb for doing that. But it was that important to me at that age to have clear skin, and I didn't really know what was going on. So eventually I found a skincare routine that really helped. I was looking through the ads in the newspaper for the department store where I lived back then, and there was free makeup if you spent a certain amount of money at Clinique. And they advertised the 3-step skincare system. So I asked my mom if we could check it out. I think I was mostly motivated by the free makeup that I was gonna get, but I thought, maybe I should try it out. Maybe I should try a better skincare routine just to see how it goes. And this was I don't know, I was in 8th grade, so I was 14 maybe, so 13, 14, maybe I think a little late in the game to really just start a skincare routine, especially as you're developing acne and getting oilier and your skin is changing. So that's kind of when I started really taking care of my skin. And I still have a few Clinique products that I used way back then, and I used for quite a few years actually. And nothing against Clinique or the 3-step system, but eventually I kind of grew out of that routine and I needed more for my skin. But I think they're really good basics to start with. And I think the whole concept of this 3-step system is, key to anyone's routine. I think could it be improved? For sure. I think Clinique has some room for improvement, but I think the basics are there. So let's kind of go through each product that I used to use really regularly, and some of the stuff I still do use. So, and please, I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings when I talk about some of these products that I don't use anymore. If you still use it and it works great for you, great, but I hope that you have an open mind and kind of listen to the concerns that I have about some of these products. So let's start with makeup remover. So back then, as a teen, I was wearing some makeup. So of course, when I went to the Clinique counter, they suggested, you want to have some makeup removing products along with the 3-step system. So they suggested an eye makeup remover, and this is the Take the Day Off, and I still use this to this day. I haven't really found anything comparable for the price and the value. I really love it. It's kind of like that biphase formula where the oil separates. You just shake it up, pour it on a pad, let it sit on your eye, and then wipe off the makeup. I think it reduces the amount of rubbing, and you don't want to rub off your makeup so like harshly that you're really tugging on your skin a lot. And when I use like a really good formula for an eye makeup remover, the less kind of movement I have to do. I'm also like cognizant of losing hair when I'm rubbing my eyes, like eyebrow hair and eyelash hair. And the less rubbing I do, the less likely that is gonna happen. So I like a really effective eye makeup remover, and sometimes if you use like an oil cleanser and you use that to remove your eye makeup as well, there can be a lot of rubbing in your eyes going on. You can get like quite a bit of cloudiness occurring. Whereas when I use this, that doesn't happen as much. So I prefer to use like a separate eye makeup remover, especially if you use like a lot of eyeliners, waterproof mascaras, like makeup that's really tough to get off. I would use something like this. So this is something I still continue to use. I'm really glad I got introduced to it. The next sort of first cleanser they suggested for me, this is outside of the 3-step system. This is the Rinse Off Foaming Cleanser. And this is a mousse formula, so it's actually pretty thick. And it's one of those like kind of white, almost like pinkish, not really, but kind of that sort of formula that is just, it really foams up when you add water, and it does a really good job of removing makeup, but it makes your skin that squeaky clean feeling, which I was okay with back in the day, but nowadays I prefer my skin not to be stripped as much with the first cleanse. I like to, have things remain soft but clean, and this totally removes everything on your skin. Any oils that are part of your skin is going to remove all of it. I think for very oily skins, this might be okay, but I think this can be really drying for a lot of people. Even more mature oily skins, it can be sort of too much. But if you prefer that squeaky clean, this is your guy. It's a good value. You get a lot of product in here. This is gonna take you forever to go through because a little goes a really long way. But as a foaming sort of cleanser, it's strong. And then following that as a second cleanse, they recommend, this is the first step of the 3-step skincare system. This is the facial soap bar. And this is the mild version. They have different versions depending on your skin type. And this one is for dry combination. I think in the past I just used the normal one. I think it just says normal skin. I wasn't using the oily skin one, but I've used that one before as well. So with this one, it's just a yellow bar, if this is still in its package. But you basically use it like you would for like cleaning your body. You get it wet, you either lather on your hands, put it on your face, or just put the bar directly on your face. I think this is also, it does the job. It's very simple formula, but it also can be drying like a lot of other bar formulas. That's why you don't see a lot of facial cleansers in bar form, because they can, again, be really stripping, and you don't necessarily need to strip your skin of everything every time you wash your face, especially if you're using this as a second cleanse. And I was using this in the morning just as my only cleanser in the morning back then, and you know, it was fine. It was way better than what I was using before, which is a really strong Clearasil cleanser that was super harsh. So this was an improvement for me. But then, like, learning about skincare more over the years, I just stopped using this pretty much because I felt like I don't need that much cleaning. Kind of funny, but I still actually use this on my chest, anywhere that I get breakouts, on my back, on my chest, anywhere that I'm prone to clogging, and that especially is true for me in the summer. In my sweaty areas, I get breakouts. So if you deal with any body acne, I keep this in the shower, and I just use this for my targeted areas, and then I use like an oil body cleanser or a creamy body cleanser to do kind of the rest of my body. But if you have any congestion, maybe on the back of your legs, the back of your arms, I would try this out. And they have an acne version, so something to think about if you want something that can really like clear up your skin. That is a good option for you. So these things I'm still using to this day. Again, I like to think of this video as like where I've come, not necessarily that any of these products that I used to use were bad. I just have grown up since then, and my needs have also grown up. Now, the second step of the system is the Clinique lotion. This is the clarifying lotion. They call this a twice-a-day exfoliator, and this says it's for dry combination. This is the purple formula. I don't remember it being called dry combination before, but maybe it was. I thought it was just normal skin. But I used to use these up all the time. I used these through college, you know, high school, middle school. This is the toner that I was using, and this was pretty much my exfoliator. I didn't use anything beyond that, so my skin was pretty congested, and I have issues with that anyway, so this really wasn't helping me. And this has alcohol in it, and how they explained it at the counter, Clinique counter, is that, you know, you're removing your makeup, you're using the bar to remove that makeup residue, and then after that you use this to remove all the soap, which I thought, when I think about that now, that sounds a little bit odd. Like, after your second cleanse, pretty much all the soap should be gone, and any other makeup should be gone, so why do I need an alcohol toner? I mean, these three in combination was just, I think, too much for me. But it was, you know, better than nothing. This is a basics of routine, is a cleanser, toner, and moisturizer. So while I used this for years, it has alcohol and witch hazel, but it doesn't have a lot of hydrating ingredients to counterbalance it. So I eventually stopped using this. This is a couple years old. My mom still gives me this stuff, and finally she asked me if I'm still using some of this, and I told her which ones I still like, but not using this guy anymore. I've found bigger and better, more effective exfoliators. But I mean, this was pretty cost effective. It is pretty huge, but I wish they would reformulate this one especially to have more of exfoliating ingredients in here. Believe it or not, there's no acids in here at all. There's the only hydrating ingredient in here is glycerin. I just think at least from what I can read, I just think there needs to be more in here. Increase the price, make it a smaller bottle, but make this a little bit more of a working toner and a really exfoliating toner besides using alcohol. That's just my thoughts, Clinique. Don't be offended. I know this is like part of your star 3-step system and you don't want to change it and your customer loyalty is there, but I think it could be a little bit better. And then rounding out the system, I use the Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizer. That's that yellow moisturizer. It's very iconic. I don't have any on hand. I think I looked for a little sample of it and I think I must have thrown them all away. And it's a really simple moisturizer. All it really does is moisturize and that's it. It was pretty lightweight. I remember it absorbs pretty quickly. It just doesn't do anything else. So if that's all you want, it's great for that. It's pretty good value. You get a lot of product, but I think most days, most people want something more from their moisturizer besides just hydration. Also, when you're, in a really dry climate or sometimes moisturization can only last for so long, so you might have to like reapply throughout the day. I've since moved on from that one a few years ago, quite a while ago, and I've moved on to bigger and better things. But if you want a simple moisturizer, you can go with the system. It's really easy, but you can find probably a little bit better formulations actually in the drugstore than that one. I know Clinique has come out with different formulations of that moisturizer. I think they have a gel one now. So that's nice. I think, could it be better? Sure. I also remember using their Total Turnaround cream. I don't know if they still make it anymore, but they told me to use that at night, and that did have some exfoliating ingredients in it. I don't think it was super strong. I think it was a really weak formula, which was fine. I just don't remember it doing much for me. I also used their moisturizer with sunscreen in it. I think it was like an SPF 30. It came in a jar. And I use many of those, which I think was good because that's all the sunscreen I was applying to my face back then. And then, that's kind of my Clinique journey and how I started out, and I used that for years. My mom started using it. She noticed a huge difference in her skin, believe it or not, because she wasn't really following a great routine herself, and she's continued to use that line ever since. I think what's great about Clinique, it is pretty affordable for a department store line, and you get plenty of product whatever you get. So I think in that sense it's a pretty incredible sort of beginner's line. But I think if I were to change it up now, I think I would not suggest this to me even back then. And I think what has changed with Clinique is they started coming out with their Take the Day Off cleansing balm, and that's probably what I would have recommended to myself as a first cleanse, because that is essentially an oil cleanser balm, and back then they didn't have it, but that's what I would use if I wanted to just stick with Clinique. That would be my first cleanse. And then I would have to check out Clinique again to see what else they have besides the Spar. I know they have some liquid soaps that I've tried, but again, they're just really harsh and stripping. But if you guys know of a Clinique cleanser that is really gentle, let me know. But that's kind of what I would change. I also wouldn't use this at all. I don't recommend this for anyone. If you have a choice, I would look at drugstore options before getting this. Anything without alcohol, I think that's kind of the killer on this one. It's just too much. But as far as that goes, that was my routine. Eventually, a couple years later, after I graduated college, I started using a Sonicare brush, or a Sonic brush, to remove my makeup. And my mom gave me this. This is the Clinique Sonic brush. Comes in this like docking station. And this isn't a bad brush. I haven't actually tried the Clairsonic version. I know the head's a lot bigger on that guy. But this is essentially what it does. It just vibrates. And you just kind of skim it across your skin. And of course your skin's going to be wet. But that's essentially what you do for 30 seconds. And then it automatically goes off after 30 seconds. And then you press the button again, another 30 seconds. So you can really easily overdo it with this guy. I was using it only 30 seconds because I felt like my skin couldn't handle it more than that. And I did notice a big improvement with my skin sort of kind of clearing up the pimples when I started using this. And I used this for several years, and I kept, replacing the heads, which is a lot of money. I mean, it's way more than the value of the original cost. I think it's like $25 a head, which you have to replace pretty regularly, otherwise you're using a dirty brush head on your skin. So I don't like Sonic brushes because of that replacement factor. Yeah, it's just super expensive. Also, I think this is like maybe not the most gentle head. I think this is like the medium head. There's a rougher head to this. But I just felt like it was too rough, and there's no setting on here. It's just one button. There's no like super gentle setting. There's no like higher setting. And I don't know, maybe the Clairsonic has better controls for you, but I think eventually my skin started to not like the physical exfoliation every day that I wore makeup. Because essentially that was my routine to remove makeup, was to put on my oil cleanser or whatever cleanser I was using back in the day and just kind of go over my face. But yeah, I think it was too much exfoliation, and not in a good way. Like, my skin, it was clear at first, but then it was like, I think a little unhappy. So I've stopped using that since then, and I haven't really noticed. I don't think my breakouts are worse because I stopped using it. I think because of how I changed my routine, I'm still able to remove my makeup effectively with my hands or with a microfiber towel. So I don't really miss this. I don't miss replacing the brush heads. Alright, so that's sort of the complete Clinique system that I used. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about my journey since then. Alright, so since my teens and college, I think the biggest sort of revelation in my skincare journey was that I wasn't really exfoliating my skin at all, and that I wasn't really hydrating my skin enough. And I think those two things have been huge for me, and I realized that, for one, by seeing a facialist, an esthetician, who asked me, what are you using to exfoliate? And I said, I'm using a toner. And I was talking about this guy, and she said, oh yeah, that's not really exfoliating. And I was like, oh yeah, I've used some scrubs. And so she recommended a couple things for me. She recommended the Dermatologica, the powder, I forget what it's called, but it's like the powder that you shake out and you get it wet, and it's a physical exfoliator. And that one was fine. I just didn't use it regularly enough. And then she also got me into learning about acids and chemical exfoliators, which I never really heard of before. And so I started getting into that whole world, which nowadays, of course, everybody knows about acids. It's not a new thing, but for me, I was like, huh? And I still talk to some women today about exfoliation, and they're like, oh yeah, I use some scrubs. So I think a lot of us are still a little bit in the dark if you're not, quite paying attention to the beauty scene, which is totally fine. But I do recommend sort of getting some expert advice from a dermatologist or a facialist. For some of us, a facial is a little more accessible. They say to do it monthly, but I haven't done it in years. I rather spend my money on good quality products than a facial, but it all depends on your skin. I don't have crazy acne going on. I do get congestion, of course. I have large pores. I don't know. I just prioritize my funds in different ways than probably most people would. But yeah, so exfoliation's been huge for me. Also, applying hydration in lots of layers and different textures and formulations. Just because you're oily, congestion prone, I wouldn't say that you just do one moisturizer and you're good, especially at night. You may need a little bit more, but I think trying at least 2 layers of hydration is good for a lot of people. It's changed my skin for the better, and it just adds to sort of that plumping effect that we all want, especially if we have a little bit of fine lines. I'm always good with a little more moisture. So I've tried a lot of different brands since Clinique. I'm not going to get into all of them. I can't really remember all of them, to be honest. I've kind of dabbled a lot in the Sephora brands, and some of the spa lines. And now I've kind of moved. And then for a couple years there, I was really into Asian beauty, K-beauty skincare. I still am a little bit. I'm still interested, especially in the sunscreen world. But I've kind of backed off from Asian beauty for a little bit. I love the concept. I like a lot of steps, but it can be a little overwhelming. But I'm starting to get more into the more luxury realm of skincare, but not every brand, right? So if you've seen some of my other By Logique Recherche videos, I've really gotten into that brand this year, and I really love it. But I'm probably never gonna stay with one brand exclusively ever again. I think it's just hard for any one brand to deliver everyone's needs. And yeah, so I kind of want to just get into what I'm using today and talk about what's changed and what ingredients are different and what the formulations are different, and then just how my approach has changed. So let's start with cleansers and makeup removers. So I've started using an oil cleanser for a few years now, and I think that's really helped remove my makeup completely. It still can be a challenge for me to remove all my makeup completely, especially on heavy foundation days. You really have to take the time to work in an oil cleanser for a good minute or two to really get everything out, and especially the hard to reach nooks and crannies around the nose and between the eyebrows. You just kind of really need to work it in and spend that time to cleanse. and it can be kind of a little moment for you if you like to think of it that way. But additionally, I've gotten into a little bit into using like a microfiber towel, and I don't use this every day because it does have quite a bit of an physical exfoliating property to this when you use it. I try to be as gentle as possible. There's two sides to this, but my skin feels super smooth after I use it. I just don't want to do physical exfoliation every day because I'm already doing chemical exfoliation every day with the toner I use. So I don't want to do double duty, but sometimes I feel like, you know, my makeup isn't coming all the way off, then I'll use something like this. Especially with the white, you can see if everything's removed. But as far as what I'm using the Samuel Aftershow Treatment Cleanser from my oil cleanse. This is the sensitive skin version, and this is essentially like a gel-like balm. I really like the texture of this, and you basically work this in onto dry skin, and then you add water and it becomes like a milky, like liquid emulsion, and it just removes your makeup really beautifully. And Samuel suggests using the microfiber cloth with this oil cleanser, and I probably would suggest that, especially if you wear quite a bit of makeup. I mean, this is really gonna make sure everything's removed. But then again, like, I also have another oil cleanser that if I have a real heavy makeup day, I'm fine using 2 oil cleansers. You don't want to do that all the time because oil cleansers can really dehydrate the skin. Believe it or not, using too much can be bad. But I use this liquid version, and this is from Hada Labo. This is the Gokujin one. I don't know the true name of it, but I got it on YesStyle, and you can get refills of it. I've already refilled this bottle once. And it's a nice texture. It's not too thick, it's not too watery, it's right in between. You do have to like oil cleansers to like something like this, like the liquidy kind. But this does a really good job of kind of backing up this guy. And if you had a super makeup day, maybe you only want to use this. But I really like the texture of this balm probably the most. And then I make sure I second cleanse, and what I've been using lately is the Samuel Matinee Gel Cleanser. And this is a nice cleanser. It's nice and light and airy and cushiony and dreamy. It feels kind of like an aloe vera gel is the closest what I can describe it as. It's just really soft. And I think it does a good job of making sure everything's removed. All the first cleanse is removed, but it doesn't strip the skin at all. It's just a really wonderful texture. I love this guy. And you could totally use this in the morning as your only cleanser as well. But it's just far from what I used to use. You know, both of the Samuel products are not drying like this guy was, or the bar cleanser. Like, this is essentially the opposite of what I'm using now. This was very drying and stripping, whereas this takes a more refined approach to removing your makeup without like removing all the oils, natural oils from your face. It still leaves you nice and soft skin. Another cleanser I'm using in the morning is the Roche Posay Hydrating Gentle Cleanser. This is a really good value. You can get this in the US at a lot of drugstores. They actually have this line pretty well available everywhere now. They have it online. This is a really simple formula. It's soap free. So I use this in the morning, no makeup on my skin, no sunscreen, and I really like the formula of this. It's really simple, it's really soft, not stripping at all. Gotta love this one. And then as far as like exfoliating goes, I don't love physical exfoliants. I prefer chemical ones now. I just think they're a lot more effective and they don't mess up my skin or irritate my skin as much. Of course, I get some redness, but the physical exfoliation I think does a lot more damage to me. And so beyond just like the oil cleansers I just talked about and using this, if I really want to like have a really like spa-like experience and I want my skin to be baby smooth, I will get this wet with warm water. And then I've used this a few times. I still have a whole lot of this left because I don't do this often. I don't use this often. This is the Your Good Skin Nourishing Hot Cloth Cleanser. And this will remove your makeup, but it also is just really comforting. So in combination with the hot cloth, this is like super moisturizing, but it does a good job of removing your makeup. So it's like this thick lotion-like texture, and it's just like a nice thick cream, and it's like super hydrating, but it removes your makeup, and it's really nice. I got it at Walgreens, so it's pretty cost effective. This is a UK brand. I think I had to order it and ship it to the store. It wasn't available in the store. I hope this brand is still available at Walgreens. I think that's the only place in the US this is available. And maybe Ulta has this brand, at least they used to. But yeah, I had to order this this isn't part of their regular line. I don't think I see the US doing a lot of these types of cleansers, this hot cloth. I don't know why. But it's really nice experience. I almost think of it as like if you had a beard and you were getting like a hot shave, you know how they put like that hot towel around your face? This reminds me of like that kind of experience where it's just super comforting, and then you're using the warm towel to remove, and your face just feels so soft. And some people use this to like remove their makeup every day, and you certainly could. I just don't like over exfoliating with this. Maybe I need to find a better microfiber towel. I got this on Amazon. It's like facial grade, but I think it can be a little bit rough for my liking. But that's essentially all I use. Of course, the physical exfoliators out there are a lot more gentle and refined than in the past. I have these cleansers as a sample, and I got this, yeah, as a free kind of Sephora gift. This is Dr. Barbara Sturm Enzyme Cleanser, and this is essentially like a really fine powder cleanser. And you're gonna get some exfoliating properties out of here. Yeah, it's just a really lightweight, refined powder. Like very lightweight. You add water to it. And if I wanted to do physical exfoliation, I think these types of really refined powders are a good option if that is what you prefer and that's what your skin can handle. Also, talking about foaming cleansers, some people really prefer foaming cleansers, and I think they have come a long way and they're not as stripping as they used to be. And this one here, also from Dr. Barbara Sturm, I wasn't impressed with it at first, but it's just hanging out in my shower, so I use it randomly. But the more I use it, the more I'm appreciating that. It's a really gentle and soft foaming cleanser. And I'm not gonna buy this, but if that was like my preference of cleanser texture, you know, if you love foaming, I would try this one, because this one is like super gentle. It just feels really soft. Like it doesn't really feel like a foaming cleanser normally does. So I think the formulations are getting better. Do you have to spend this kind of money? No. I think definitely explore, you know, brands, try things out. Things have changed is what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of it for cleansers. As far as toners go, I have changed toners quite a few times since Clinique. The clarifying lotion with the alcohol in it. But what I have in my arsenal now is a hydrating but also exfoliating, really gentle exfoliating toner. I don't use it much anymore, but I still have it, and it's just a really gentle exfoliating toner. This is the Benton Aloe BHA Skin Toner. It has 0.5% BHA. Obviously there's aloe in here, there's snail juice, snail secretion filtrate, hyaluronic acid. It's slightly acidic, but this is just really softening and hydrating toner, super gentle. You could get away with using this every day. So a far cry from this guy that was alcohol and drying. This is a really nice one. To me, it wasn't enough exfoliating properties, but it's a nice, gentle breeze. But what I've been using lately, and this is pretty new to me, this is the Biologique Recherche Lotion P50V, and this is the second strongest formula. I'm still watering it down. This is the one with phenol in it. And I'm like dampening my cloth before I put this on. I get a little bit of redness, but it's definitely reduced. But I use this once a day at night, and it's definitely clearing things up slowly. It's not a fast process for me, but I'm still trying this out, believe it or not. Like, I had a smaller bottle, and then I had a little bit of a break, and then I'm using this regularly again. It takes a good couple months to really see the benefits, but I think it's working well. I just have this chin breakout that won't go away. But it is strong. You might say, well, how is this better than this? Well, this is strong, probably more irritating. Well, I haven't used this in a while, but more irritating probably for a lot of people, this one, but it's going to be more effective, because there's really no exfoliating ingredients in here besides alcohol, whereas this has many different exfoliating ingredients. Plus it has some good hydrating ingredients as well, including glycerin and niacinamide. So a lot going on here with this one. So the irritation, whatever you may have, might be a little bit more worth it. So those are my toners I've been using. I don't use a sonic brush anymore to remove my makeup. And at the beginning of the video I mentioned, like in my teens, like what acne products I was using, like treatment products. And I mentioned Clearasil and like 10% BHA, which like totally blew up my face and caused an allergic reaction. And now what I'm using, I found as I've gotten older, I can tolerate acne treatments a lot more, but I still go with a really low percentage. And even so, I still get a little bit of itchiness, which tells me, oh, this is still irritating me. But sometimes you really want to use something on your active breakouts. And I've been using Replenix. This is the acne gel, benzoyl peroxide 2.5%, so not super high. I find this to be pretty gentle. I'd get a little bit of irritation with it, a little bit of itchiness. I find this doesn't work super quickly, but it helps. It just takes a couple days to really show the results. I've also used this Differin gel. This is an adapalene gel. 0.1%, and I bought this really initially to use kind of as an anti-aging treatment. It's supposed to be an alternative to retinol, and I have used it for acne. I think it's fine. I haven't used it enough to like notice any sort of anti-aging results, and I think I'd rather use something a little bit, I don't know, stronger is the right term, but just something else. I think if you want to use this, it's going to be super gentle, but you're going to have to use this a lot, like very consistently, to get the results that you want. So a long period of time use, you'll probably see results with this, but this is not going to happen fast if you use this. But I think it's cool that it's available now. It used to only be prescription. But I haven't, like, as an acne treatment, I don't use it enough to tell you whether it's good or not. You guys will have to let me know. But that's it. I mean, that's kind of where my skincare has evolved from. As I said, like, I'm not hating on Clinique at all. I still use quite a few of their products. I just think, like, skincare and people's knowledge of skincare has changed, and the formulations out there are better and just more fine-tuned to, I think, what a lot of people are missing. And I think that's exfoliation. I know some of us are over exfoliating, we need to back off. But then also I think people are not hydrating as much, and I think that has been an improvement. Now, I'm not showing you all my hydrating steps. I'm gonna kind of stop at the toner level because this video is already kind of long. But what I like to do is use a lot of serums, essences, moisturizers, and just really kind of target my needs with those types of products, and doing a lot of layering, you know, using an eye cream, all that stuff. It's really helped. Adding moisture has really helped my skin kind of balance out and become less oily. Do I still have trouble with oil? For sure. I mean, if it gets hot, I'm gonna have a shiny forehead. But yeah, and before, you know, beginning of my routine, I wasn't using any serums. I wasn't layering moisturizer. I mean, I was lucky if I put one moisturizer on and a sunscreen. But now I'm definitely added the number of steps to my routine because of all that hydration and layers going on. But I think my skin's a lot happier. I'm wearing makeup right now, but you can see in my other skincare videos that you know, I have my issues, but I try to keep my skin under control. And I'm thinking more towards like preventative aging, anti-aging, and starting to use those products as I'm in my early 30s. And I'm just trying to really focus on prevention while I can, and not neglect my skin, and stay out of the sun. Yeah, so let me know about your skincare journey. Like, what are some of the products that you used to use back in the day that you would like never use now? Or some of the ingredients that you used to swear by that you're like, oh my god, that was the worst. Yeah, comment below. And let me know if you're still on your journey. I know I am. I'm sure in a year or two my whole routine's probably gonna change. But I mean, I'm a beauty junkie, remember? So I like to change things up quite a bit. But let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.